What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. One last video for the night. Had to end it on a boxing tip. Y'all know how we do. It's the boxing clinic. And, I hear a lot of people, messaging me, commenting on posts that I'm commenting on now that I'm on, asking me, like, why did Andre Ward retire? Oh, he should have fought Adonis Stevenson. Oh, yeah, he should have fought Stevenson. But you got to look, at the whole situation. You got to actually really look at who is to blame in this situation, why Andre Ward is retiring. And it's one person in particular, the same person that couldn't get Kovalev in the ring, that Kovalev couldn't get in the ring. It's Adonis Stevenson. He's a guy that doesn't want to compete versus top fighters. And why would he? A lot of people talk shit about Adonis Stevenson, but in everyday life, they make the same decision. And the decision, as far as what it is that he takes the easy route out for top money. So if you, at work, for instance, this is just an example, they give you a hard job, you're going to get the same money. They give you the option, you take the hardest job for, $10 an hour. Let's say you a teenager, $10 an hour, hard job, or $10 an hour doing an easy job every day. What you going to pick? The easy job. And that's Adonis Stevenson. He's getting top money because he's fighting in Canada. He's a draw. He's the biggest thing since sliced bread in Canada. Him and David Lemieux right now. Now that Pascal did what Dean did. And why would he come to America and get taxed more and take home less fucking with America to fight Andre Ward? Andre Ward should have grasped the bull by the horns and demanded the fight, took less, and to make the fight happen. He would have had to compromise. He probably had to go to Canada. Stevenson might have fought in Vegas for the right amount, but he's the one that should have compromised. Everybody thinking they're a fighter, but at the end of the day, Adonis Stevenson is a 10 times bigger draw than Andre Ward is in Canada than Andre Ward is in the United States. And that's an honest assessment right there. But it's just not Adonis Stevenson to blame for it. You blame the guy that turned Adonis Stevenson into this guy, Al Haymon. And a lot of people say, you pro Al Haymon. I call a spade a spade. And the spade is Adonis Stevenson called Al Haymon, or Al Haymon contacted him. He was in negotiations to fight Kovalev. Al Haymon rose the price up too high. Stevenson bounced and dipped. And dipped for Showtime. He's making more money than Kovalev will ever make in his career at this point. He's still the champion. He's still getting big checks. He's not getting fucked like Kovalev did with Ward, making probably $100K in a rematch. Adonis Stevenson, Al Haymon will never let Adonis Stevenson get fucked like that. And that's just God honest truth. But at the end of the day, it's deeper than that. And I was talking to one of my boys, and I was telling him, well, Al Haymon don't, you don't mix with Jay-Z's Rock Nation and James Prince, because obviously, I believe Al Haymon, was the predecessor as far as Floyd Mayweather, the management team, to James Prince. And he did things with Floyd Mayweather that James Prince never can get done. He got Floyd Mayweather from point A to point Z in his career. And if Floyd would have stayed with James Prince, he never would have seen those dollar amounts that he's seen. He never would have had the business model that he's seen. He never would have seen $100 million. He probably never would have seen $50 million to fight. So, James Prince used to bully Floyd, tie him up, beat his crew up, and make him watch. Make him pay money for fights that that never materialized, and he still had to pay him his money. And Al Haymon was able to break Floyd away from that Bob Arum top-ranked contract, and his career was to another level, just like Oscar's career got to another level because he started his own company and became his own man. And Al Haymon helped Floyd Mayweather do that. Floyd Mayweather ain't hashing out deals. It's Al Haymon. He's the reason why TMT and the Mayweather Promotions is where it is. He's the reason one of the reasons Mayweather is where he is in his career. He's the reason Adonis Stevenson is able to do what he want to do. And when Tony Bellew and David Haye was close to being called, I knew that Andre Ward was going to retire. If you could just listen to Virgil Hunter, if you listen to some of the interviews Virgil Hunter does with Fight Hype, or you hear and listen to actually what Andre Ward is saying, you follow him closely, he was ready to retire. He said, I wanted to go big or go home. He was talking to Anthony Joshua. He was talking to Tony Bellew. He wanted to make the Adonis Stevenson fight happen. He said he don't want to negotiate. He don't want to fight. And he was absolutely right. But it's deeper than that. Al Haymon and Jay-Z got big beef going back to, before they was a couple. Beyonce suing Al Haymon, Jay-Z suing Al Haymon over music tours. That's what Al Haymon did. He promoted music tours. He made sure all the artists were straight. He made sure the money was right. And that's where he's making his moolah at. So, and people will say, well, yeah, he wouldn't have to negotiate with Jay-Z. But at the end of the day, he doing business with people that represent Jay-Z, like New York man. He's the dude that handles the Roc Nation business, handles the press conference, handles all the business. Al Haymon wanted to sit down with him. And, really, Andre Ward, don't want to be the B-side. And when you're going against an Al Haymon fighter, you're not a Felix Diaz, a John Molina, Evan Rodriguez. You ain't a C-side fighter. Because when I say B-side, you're entitled to something. When you're a C-side fighter, you're getting 2, 3, 100K. When you're the C-side fighter, he understands. He's like, all right, this is the best payday I can get you. It's an opportunity to capitalize on it. But when you got an A fighter like Adonis Stevenson, an A fighter like Andre Ward, and neither one of those guys want to compromise or budge on the money, it's not going to happen. Al Haymon is not digging in his own pocket to have a fight happen between his guy and a non-PBC fighter. He had digging his pocket for it to happen between two PBC fighters, but he's not letting any promoter eat off him. If his guy wins and walks away with a win, he's not walking away with Al Haymon money scot-free. And, of course, with Floyd being Al Haymon's right-hand man, you think James Prince don't have any animosity towards him? And my boy was like, what about Evan Rodriguez? Well, Evan Rodriguez and Andre Ward did fight. And at the time, Andre Ward was still with Goosen. So, understand that James Prince was still there with Al. Hey, Al had the C-side fighter or the B-side fighter to be technically right, even though Rodriguez not even a B-side fighter. He had that fighter. Charged to the game. His guy had an opportunity at a world champion shot. He got him a nice dollar. Bam. That is what it is. But if you tell me, Jay-Z and Al Haymon worked out a deal between Miguel Cotto and Earl Spence, just hypothetically, they gonna clash and have a big fight. Well, we know Cotto's not with Roc Nation, but if they was at the same time, I understand. I was like, oh, that's two big A-side fighters fighting. That's why I have no hope for in the near future for Terrence Crawford fighting Keith Thurman or Earl Spence. I have no hope for that because these guys want to be paid big unless they take it to pay-per-view. But it's a certain amount of money that an Al Haymon fighter demands, and that's why you didn't see Pacquiao, Danny Garcia happen, to Pacquiao, Broner happen. These networks ain't dishing out the money for the main event. He's not surefire superstars. They dished it out back in the day because HBO did $3 million views. You think it should be on regular ESPN? You think they'd do 5, 6, 7 million views? But none of these guys are at that status that they command that money, and neither does Adonis Stevenson or Andre Ward. Unless they go to Canada and make a pay-per-view, it sells out. But Andre Ward always wants to be in control. He wants to be totally controlled, and Adonis Stevenson won't let him. Because Adonis Stevenson knows he need to come to the United States and get more taxes taken out and make less money. For Andre Ward, he can turn around and make the same money versus Aldir Alvarez. It's a lot of politics and BS involved, but at the end of the day, money talks, bullshit walks. And Andre Ward wasn't willing to compromise and take the risk to make the Adonis Stevenson fight happen. That's all it is. Because Stevenson ain't gonna buzz. Stevenson been making money. He didn't make the $5 to $6.5 million Andre Ward made with the last 2 times with Kovalev. He didn't make that. But when Andre Ward wasn't fighting, he was still banking on money. After Andre Ward beat Chad Dawson, where did he go? Adonis Stevenson picked that win up and picked that belt up at light heavyweight when he went back up. And steadily kept eating. But then again, Adonis Stevenson don't like challenges. He never wanted to fight John Pascal. He never wanted to make that fight. But at the end of the day, every dog has his day. He gonna come across somebody that's gonna whoop his ass. He's damn near 40. So that's what he knows, somebody's gonna eventually beat him. And he's eating though, So why should he compromise to accommodate Andre Ward? When he already eating, Andre Ward the one that gotta eat. He's not gonna do that. He wants A-side money, period. And Andre Ward's one of those guys that thinks he's entitled. No, I'm not hating on him. I'm just telling you the real. When the Super 6 tournament came, you didn't see Andre Ward have to travel to the UK. He didn't leave California, I don't believe, until he fought Carl Froch in Atlantic City which was seen as a equal fighting grounds. It was the same amount of distance from Nottingham and from Oakland to Atlantic City, Nottingham to Atlantic City, or close distance. So, he never wanted to compromise. He never compromised in his career, Andre Ward. Not even in the Super 6. So do you think he was going to compromise to get that last battle like heavyweight? Absolutely not. And at the end of the day, he'd rather retire than compromise. And that's real